Justin, you want to record?
The recording has begun.
Okay, cool. So welcome everyone. Thank you for signing on. If you're in New York time at night, if you're in Cali time at sunset, if you're elsewhere else time, we are really happy to be able to get to talk about core with y'all at our annual town hall. It's our once per semester info session, essentially. My name is Max Johnson. I'm a senior in the college. I study philosophy, but I've spent pretty much every waking moment of my days at Kelibia doing something related to entrepreneurship. I'm the current co-president of CORE. You're going to hear from my good friend and co-president Justin in a bit, but I'm so happy to welcome you all to Town Hall for spring. I'm just going to give you like a quick agenda of what we're going to do today. Essentially, we're going to walk you through some of like what CORE is about, what our big projects are, what our community is like, and most importantly, hear from the firsthand experiences of people that have been in the club for a while and also joined just last semester. And also give you guys a chance to ask whatever questions you want. So we'll have that at the end. This whole thing's supposed to be casual, hopefully like not intimidating. I know like when I was a freshman in Kelibia and even like a sophomore year, I was still trying to figure things out. If any of you are in that spot, please, no question is stupid. Make sure to ask anything that seems interesting to you. But with that, let's get going. So like I said, first cute thing, we just love to know where in the world you're zooming in from. So you can respond at that link above. Take a second and do that, and let's see some results come in. Also, core folks, like why don't you do it, and then we can get a live map of where everyone's at. So where in the world are you zooming in from? We got New York, we got Cali. Nice, okay, a lot of like Eastern US. We have Spain, I think, is that Spain? Nice. Looks like maybe a Washington. A lot of Northeasterners, that's cool. Wow, we have Europe and Asia present, that's great. Midwest, we got Texas, maybe like El Paso or something. Maybe that was a mistake, I saw it disappear. Wow, okay. So we got a spread, that's great. This is, of course, they're the trolls with the middle of the ocean, of course. No Antarcticas now. If someone wants to do that, that'd be awesome. But we have a good spread of folks here, that's great. Thank you for those who are up super late. We're hopefully going to entertain you. And this also is like a nice exercise because this kind of geographic spread is absolutely what core looks like today. For the 50 or so active members, we are all over the place. And so this is how we work naturally. Like we're on calls like in all different time zones. So it's cool to see that we're reflecting a little bit of that here. So this is now the more entrepreneurial cheeky one that I'd like to do with y'all, which is, what does entrepreneurship mean to you? This is one we've done every year for like the past 10 years. I'd love to see some answers. Innovation, absolutely. Fixing stuff, absolutely. Tons of problems, yes, risk. Innovation in bold, I think Kelibia would love that to be like the newspaper title for anything we do. Passion, absolutely. Independence, I like that a lot. I think that's something that we all try to get better at here. I think everyone here comes in and gets a little bit more independent as a person, as a thinker, just like getting through this the stuff that we do here. Awareness, absolutely. Big in many senses, I guess. Big for sure. Impact, great. Yeah, entrepreneurship's great. risk-taking, complexity, ideas, absolutely. So not to belabor this too much, but you may be expecting what I'm about to say, but in core, pretty much all of these things apply. The projects that you hear about in the next 45 minutes or so, they're going to touch on each one of these concepts. Everybody in core on this call has interfaced with having to take risks, having to grow as a person, having to definitely work with teams, and certainly, hopefully, touched on a little bit of that innovation that exists in the entrepreneurial world. So anyway, thank you for indulging me. As a last semester senior, I still like to see what entrepreneurship is like for people. Let's move on. Now, my friend Justin will talk a little bit about our values and what we're about.
Yes, thank you for the transition, Max. I just want to stress again, this is Max's last town hall. This is a person who has poured his heart and soul into this club. So I'm just happy we get to share this all with you all here. So before I talk about CORE, before we get into this great organization, I have a quick ask for you all. If this is your first ever CORE event, this is the first CORE event that you have been a part of, and you put 1 in the chat, the number 1. If this is your second, third, many, whatever, put 2. I just want to get an idea of who is in this chat. So 1, if this is your first event, 2, if you've been to other events. Oh, I love the ones that I'm seeing. This is fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, well, I'm so happy to see people that this is their introduction to CORE and people who have been with us for a while. To start us off, one of the things that ties everything that we do together is this idea that entrepreneurship is for everyone, or entrepreneurship for everyone. We are very far from the time where the entrepreneur that we think of is the person who has been coding since they were 2 years old in a basement and they're making a crazy unicorn at like 8 years old. We are far from that. We view our duty as the Kelibia organization of rising entrepreneurs to be able to give the resources, know-how, and education to anyone on campus that wants to learn more about entrepreneurship. This could mean that they want to found their own company. This could mean that they want to think about building a product or a service. This could simply mean that they want to apply the entrepreneurial mindset to the problems that they are going against, the obstacles that they are building things on. So we are a firm believer that entrepreneurship is for everyone, and it is our duty to supply people with the resources they need. Next, we have our 3 main values. The first one is keeping community first. We'll get into a bit of what it means to be a member in CORE, but everything is to make sure that you can meet really exciting people and we could together build very impactful programs. So the community, the people that we have in CORE are always the most important aspect. Next, inclusivity equals everything. As I said before, when you say entrepreneur or startup, there is no longer one picture or one type of business that comes to mind. We try to ensure that we have a range of people, not only members in the club, but events that we're having, speakers that we're interfacing with, and we're having a large scale impact, both at Kelibia, New York, the US, and global. And last is this dream big, act bigger. Later, we'll talk to you a bit about the initiatives we run and the people who we have invited. But CORE is we do some cool things. We do some really big things. So there are no limits or boundaries when we set out to accomplish different things. So that's kind of the overall idea of what CORE is and what we strive to be. Next is kind of the nitty gritty. So in the end, we are a student organization. This means that we get members, we recruit from all of you, and the position that we recruit for is called the Operating Committee Leader, or OCL. These are the people that run and design all of our initiatives. They are the engine that allows CORE to accomplish all the things that we are able to accomplish. Being an OCL means that you could join and create in any of our initiatives. It means that you come to our internal community events. We have education for our members. We have onboarding for our members. You become an integral part of not only CORE, but the Kelibia entrepreneurship community. I think this is one thing that I didn't really notice or realize when I was applying, that once you become a part of CORE, you really are an ambassador for entrepreneurship at Kelibia, which is extremely exciting, right? And you can see all of these other words: creative, problem solvers. Our members are some of the most interesting people I've had the ability to meet. So this OCL position are the people who design, execute the things that we do in core. Next, there are the kind of OCL commitments. This is really just to keep accountability towards each other and make sure that we are all on the same boat. In order to do the large scale projects that we find ourselves doing, we need to make sure people are aligned and kind of in tune, right? So one thing is we have our monthly all hands meetings. These are times when we all get together or we all get on a Zoom and we talk about the new projects that we're building. We give updates on the individual initiatives. One of the things that I love about our all hands too is usually we have a couple of members who are actually in the process of building products or building companies. And they come, they talk about what they're building, they talk about some of the issues that they're encountering. And then we as a group ask questions, give solutions, and just talk. It's a great way to learn about what's being built on campus and to vibe with other passionate people. And then lastly, one of the parts of all hands that I love is normally we get a lot of our seniors or our alums to come talk about what they're working on, talk about what they are going to be working on. And it's just a great way to really grow a network in core. Next is the show up for at least 3 core events per semester. This is an easy one. We do a lot of events. We have a lot of things going on. So supporting your fellow core member is important to us. And lastly, participate in planning and running at least one initiative, and then joining our social events is something that we value. So next, I will pass this over to a bunch of my fellow members in core to talk about some of the projects that you would be able to get involved with.
Hey everyone.
Yep.
Hey everyone, my name is Shane. I am a freshman in CC and I'm an OCL within core. And I'm really grateful that you guys are all here to learn about what we do. So one of the initiatives I'm involved in is called Founder School. And Founder School is basically our 5-week fundamentals of entrepreneurship class that we put on for the entire student body. And each week of the class focuses on a different topic related to starting your own company. So for example, this past semester, week 1 was all about how do you find a problem that is worth exploring and the criteria that you need to meet in order to really develop a company around it. And so basically this initiative is great because it basically takes you through all the theoretical concepts you need for starting your own company and just learning what it's like to actually be a founder. And one of the great things we do is we do a ton of case studies so you can actually see how this applies to the real world. And we also invite a ton of founders. So almost every week we actually had a founder come and we got to do Q&A for like the last 20 minutes of each class. So this initiative is really great if you actually want to have direct access to founders and get more comfortable with all the concepts you need to kind of navigate the entrepreneurial and venture capital world. And I would say in terms of workload, it's about a 1-hour weekly meeting and then about 30 to 45 minutes of work outside of those meetings. So yeah, an absolutely great initiative.
Hello, my name is Lord. I'm a junior in C studying computer science and I'm on the executive board. I've been in core for about 1.5 years now, and I think speaker events is one of the less formalized initiatives, but one of the coolest ways to get your hands right into core work and really dig into some of your passions. As you can see in this picture, we invited DJ Khaled a few years ago, and we took this epic picture that we like to show all the time, but we have continuously invited cool people such as Jack Dorsey from Twitter, the founder of Backstage Capital, the founder of Harlem Capital, and that list can grow with anyone that you're passionate about. Whether you're passionate about sustainability, femcare, fintech, you name it. I think just cold emails and effective communication can bring anyone you want to campus. And it's also the quickest way for people outside of core to become interested in joining us and also like coming to other events.
Yeah, just a quick add there, like this whole DJ Khaled thing was really funny because someone from core literally just like DM'd his publicist or DM'd him on Insta, and he was like, yeah, for sure. I'll be there next week. And then he actually showed up. And with Ariana Huffington, who went into this whole spiel about starting up in the media industry. So you can really get pretty far with cold emails via the core platform. Anyway, sorry, go for it, Noga.
Another thing about CORE that I think is important to note in the context of Columbia's broader entrepreneurial scene is that we're significant partners of the entrepreneurial minds and sort of institutions at both the university level, but also in other schools. We have close relationships with the business school and the engineering school. And so one of the ways that this sort of manifests itself is at Startup Columbia, which is an annual event competition. And it's inclusive of the Columbia Venture Competition, in which different student founded or alumni founded companies compete for funding. The applications are actually going live in 6 days if you are working on a company and are interested in participating in the spring. But it's just one of the ways in which our community transcends not only CORE, but also Columbia and the broader New York ecosystem.
Speaking of the broader New York ecosystem, EVE is this program that we held when we could still do physical events. Entrepreneurship via exploration, essentially, it's a program especially for first-year students into Columbia, where we take first years throughout the city from the 4 undergrad schools, and we introduce them to founders, VCs, go on cool bonding events together, teach them about entrepreneurship, have like an immersive experiential take on what it means to be an entrepreneur, meeting lots of interesting people. So we hope to make this either a virtual thing or certainly reinstate it as a physical event very soon. Definitely something for y'all to think about as you're applying to be an OCL. An event that I actually am planning and holding soon is called Designathon. Essentially, CORE and Barnard Columbia Design for America have gotten together to build these really unique events that sit at the intersection of design and entrepreneurship for the CORE and DFA communities internally. Basically, these like pretty intensive workshops where we learn in some kind of like industry category about some interesting design things. So imagine you're talking about media and entertainment. An upper level creative from Spotify comes to you and says, hey, we're looking to roll out like a new feature, our fall rewind or whatever. And you're going to say, okay, this option versus this option, how do we make this choice in this UX improvement? That's like a kind of thing we would dig into together. So a really cool thing, another great part of being an OCL.
Yeah, so another initiative I'm involved in is called Elevate, and it's our most recent initiative, actually. It started this past summer in response to the Black Lives Matter movement. And so basically what Core Elevate is all about is uplifting marginalized communities within Core, Columbia, West Harlem, and beyond. And so what we do is we essentially work towards a more inclusive Core community, hosting underrepresented founders, and amplifying student founders of diverse backgrounds. We worked with Michael Siebel, who's the CEO of Y Combinator. We also have worked with Henri from Harlem Capital, as you can see from this slide, and Arlen Hamilton from Backstage Capital. So we've done a ton of work really working to uplift Black founders, as well as other underrepresented demographics. And yeah, I would say this initiative is great if you're really interested in social change and you want to learn more about entrepreneurship. This is definitely a place to be. This is such an awesome sense of community within this initiative. And yeah, I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, Elevate has started up like extremely quickly in the past 6 months, and the work they're doing is fantastic. Another kind of community-centric educational and sort of inspirational initiative we have is called Core Youth. We in the past have done things like host a conference for high school students on the Intrepid, like the Intrepid Museum docked in the river, where we basically had like a whole day of pitch competitions and like educational sessions with lots of entrepreneurs, creative folks, professors from Columbia, what have you. We also do smaller pitch competitions. And actually 2 of our alumni who are currently off working in tech and consulting, they have gotten together to form a 501c3 nonprofit that teaches entrepreneurship, and we're working directly with them now. So sort of the core educational mission extended into the real world, and we're still building stuff out even with our alums today. If you're passionate about education, certainly this is a great place to be.
Hey guys, my name is Nassif. I'm a freshman at C studying computer science. So Women at Core, the whole mission of it is to empower the women in the Columbia community to really just pursue their passions in entrepreneurship. And the initiative really consists of 3 main parts. The first one is speaker events, where we bring in female founders and female speakers from a bunch of different industries to talk about their career paths. The second one is a Facebook group that we're launching soon. Essentially, we're fostering a supportive community of women in Columbia community in general, not just specific to Core, but you'll have job postings there, post about blogs, interview help, resume review, anything like that, really just to foster a supportive community. And the last one is a mentorship program where we'll connect female professionals to students. So if you're interested in kind of like the women empowerment and providing these kinds of opportunities, this is definitely a great initiative for you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sajad. I'm a sophomore in CC, and I'll talk about AlmaWorks. So AlmaWorks is Columbia's startup accelerator for New York City startups. What we do is we connect startups that are associated with Columbia. We have a cohort of about 8 or 9 startups every semester, and we give them all the tools and resources that they need to succeed. So AlmaWorks is a 7-week program. We've been running it for about 5.5 years now. And our companies have gone on to, we take them at the seed stage, and our companies have gone on to raise about $32 million. And we have about 300 investors and mentors. Next slide. So what I'll talk briefly about what being a member of AlmaWorks entails as part of the organizing team. So there's a lot of cool tasks. You learn a lot. And it's amazing being part of the AlmaWorks team. So the tasks are recruitment, mentorship outreach. Mentorship outreach is very cool. You get to meet and talk to some of the coolest professionals in New York who are really at the forefront of their fields, who want to get involved in the Columbia ecosystem and interact with them, learn from them. Then we hold office hours with the best VCs in New York. So running that demo day like is an event. 200, 300 people attend that, including VCs. People from all over New York and startups. Then there's media, AlmaWorks community growth initiative that we're launching. And there's also the AlmaWorks Fellowship. I'll just talk briefly about the fellowship. So the fellowship, what the fellowship does is that it matches Columbia students to some of the best startups in the New York City ecosystem. We've been running it about for 2 or 3 cohorts now, and it's very, very successful. The deadlines is tomorrow night, and you all should apply regardless of your interest in course. It's a very good opportunity. And you can go to alma.works/fellowship to apply to that, Max. Thanks. Here are just some of the partners that we have at AlmaWorks. And these are some of the companies that have been launched in previous years through AlmaWorks. And the next slide is just general information for anyone interested. So if you have a startup, you should apply to the accelerator, which is alma.works/apply. If you are interested in working at a startup, you should apply for the fellowship. And if you are interested in being part of the team that runs AlmaWorks, you should apply to be an OCL at Core.
Yeah, just to clarify really quickly, AlmaWorks is accessible from like multiple angles. It's this kind of like composite initiative. So if you actually have a company right now, you don't have to apply to be an OCL in Core at all. You just go apply for AlmaWorks to be in that cohort. Totally separate thing. If you want to be essentially like a part-time employee, like a short-term employee or like intern for an AlmaWorks startup, a fellow in AlmaWorks, then you apply again, not for OCL, but the fellowship. And if you want to be a part of the people that actually make AlmaWorks work, it's the organizer thing. We get questions about this all the time, so I just want to make sure we clarify that. Sorry, Sajad, to like step on the end of it. I just want to make sure we say that. But thank you. I'm just going to hand this off to Lord.
Yes, so this was actually the first initiative that I got involved with in Core. Basically, Princeton was launching this initiative called Tiger Launch, which at the time was the largest student-run entrepreneurship competition in the nation, which I think it still has that title. And essentially they were inviting founders from all around the country to basically compete for prize money. And founders could get connections from other founders, judges, and obviously like the monetary prizes. And basically we helped facilitate the Northeast region. And this was just like one of the ways that we partnered with other universities to throw on awesome events. And this is definitely like still on the table moving forward, like with Princeton Entrepreneurship and our other collegiate partners.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the stuff that we try to do is to get out into the world, to meet people, make partnerships. And one of the bannerhead methods for doing this in any other year that's not Zoom based is something called Global Tech Treks, where we literally take batches of like 15 to 20 Columbia students, a mix of core and not core people. And we go to places like Barcelona. We go to places like Shanghai, and we meet entrepreneurs there. A lot of it subsidized by Columbia, thankfully. entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurial students, VCs, people that run accelerators and incubators. We also see the city, we go out, we have fun. It's a great time. It's great bonding with other people that are passionate about learning about entrepreneurship in a different cultural context. So again, we hope to reinstate this very soon, but it's been something that's defined a lot of the core experience for people for many years now. And these are some pictures from GTT. And every year we take lots of great pictures, but Lord has been the subject of a lot of these for the past couple of sessions. So let's all just admire how wonderful Lord is, holding up his cup of tea, his nice backpack in these pictures from London, Paris, Tech Trek, from Global Tech Treks. Everyone has a great time on these. Justin.
Yes, so this Kelibia startup community is a newer initiative that we've been building throughout the last couple of years. As some of you may know, building a product, building a company is incredibly difficult. It could be lonely being a founder. It could be hard to get traction, do user and customer research. There's so many parts of it that are extremely difficult. And one of the things that we want to work on is more directly servicing the founder community at Kelibia. We have worked on creating social events where founders at Kelibia can meet each other. We can learn about what's being built and learn how best to support these people. So the picture we have here is back when it was called the General Body, is an event that we did a year ago for Thanksgiving, where we had people come over. We had a few alums who had either created companies or been part of founding teams, talk about kind of their trials and tribulations as students building things. And the goal is to have a lot more of these educational workshop type events, as well as opportunities for founders to meet each other, talk about their experiences, and really connect, because it is a difficult trek to be able to do these things.
Hi, y'all. My name is Time. I was a part of, and I'm still a part of Digital Strategy, which is one of the newest initiatives at Core. So with digital strategy, we learn about like digital marketing strategies, both design and social media tricks, and apply them on Core's very own social media presence. And as you can see from all the invite that we get from this event. Speaking of like new projects, there's also a few projects in the pipeline, including Core's podcast network. And generally speaking, this slide is representative of more of what we are capable of, because Core podcast network is something that's just recently started in the fall semester, and I think the same can happen with your own idea in the spring semester.
That is a great point. We are always incubating new ideas, inviting you when you come in as a new member to say, what do I want to get done? If I have all the resources and the people and the energy and the focus to create something new and make a legacy at Kelibia somehow, what do I want to do? Well, all of these initiatives that we've just showed you have been some result of that question. We've had these initiatives grow from tiny seedling things, even AlmaWorks, which, Sajad was saying, the companies have raised over $30 million in follow-on funding, which is essentially after you graduate the accelerator. That started as like a small thing with 2 companies where we were helping them out on the side. So you can really go pretty far with the projects that you build here. But stepping away from the task-oriented sort of project building things, we want to take a minute to talk about our community, because this is like the huge, like the monolithic thing that we take away from this org. And certainly like I'm getting sentimental thinking about it as a senior now that's been in Core for 4 years. But let's talk about the community for a sec. Just by the numbers, we have over 17 majors in Core. There is not a kind of person that should or should not be in Core. I'm a philosophy major. We have creative writing majors. We have STEM folks, of course. But it really runs the gamut of every kind of person you can imagine. Right now, we have around 50 OCLs across the 4 schools, and we've been, reaching 250 plus startups in our community consistently, probably more, and had, thousands of people coming to our events. So it's been a huge and growing community of minds that come together around the stuff that we do. And again, just some pictures from our community. We do picnics. We've had like Core Thanksgiving when Kelibia used to let, like the Thanksgiving meals happen. We had a Core table always. A lot of Core members have gone abroad together. The bottom left corner are 2 people, Irene and Anna, who were in Jordan together teaching entrepreneurship also on Kelibia dime through Core. And so obviously having fun. So we've done a lot of stuff together, and it's just like great fun when we can all, come together as a community. And beyond that community, Manasi is going to talk a little bit about our alums. You're muted.
Okay, sorry.
You're good.
What is going on? My computer is like glitching out. Sorry. Okay, so the alumni relations, essentially we want to maintain the relationships that we have with our alumni because the core alumni network is really strong. We have a really supportive community and we want to make sure that we maintain those relationships. So the big initiative that we started through the alumni relations program is the mentorship program, where we pair alumni to OCLs based on kind of what the OCL is interested in, whether it's interview prep, resume review, learning about industries, learning about startups, VCs, anything that the OCL needs help with or advice, feedback, the alumni mentorship program is the way to go. So if you're interested in kind of networking with our alumni, forming those relationships, and then also bringing cool opportunities to your fellow OCLs, it's a great program for you.
And please ignore me in a green shirt with that gross face. I don't know how I was caught at that moment. Let's just forget about that. All right, Sophia, would you like to talk a little bit about the OCL experience?
Yes, so the OCL experience, like we to have said throughout this presentation, we'll say again, is really what you make of it and how you define it to be. So in terms of the OCL experience, there's three main areas that we've kind of highlighted for you. So one of those is your knowledge, the other is your network, and then finally your exposure, which I also like to think of as the community. So in terms of your knowledge, this is really an opportunity for you to learn. So whether that's marketing, cold emailing, event logistics, interviewing tips and tricks, I definitely have helped people in terms of prep interviews, and I've gotten a lot of help in figuring out how to do interviews myself, learning about the methodology of due diligence for startups and working for a VC, public speaking, i.e. talking over Zoom and getting comfortable with that. And the list goes on and on of what you'll be able to do. And then in terms of your network, this is both professional and community and friends, but in terms of a professional network, you're able to get intercollegiate connections. So that's people, for instance, at Princeton that we do work with. And then that's also other schools. That can mean working with Kelibia administrators, so who's in charge of clubs. That can be working with alums. We've mentioned that many, many times, but it's very relevant to what we do. So working with alums, working on AlmaWorks or companies that are related to Kelibia. That can even be a professor's company, which is pretty cool. Really anything to leave your mark on the school. And then finally, your exposure. I like to think of this as your involvement within our community. And so like Max has said, and it really rings true, everyone here is so different in terms of their interests, what it is they focus on, what they study, their background, where they are in the world, honestly, where they're zooming in from. And it's really a great opportunity to meet and learn people. I, for instance, had a lot of friends who had taken CS classes, and now I'm finally taking my first quasi CS class this semester because I'm not at all a CS major. So humanity kids can do it too. Okay, and then the next slide, for your core journey, again, Strix is really to say that this is not by any means the only way to have this journey, and really it is unique to you and your personal experience. So we have CoreX, which is something that we spent a lot of time planning and working through, especially throughout quarantine as a board over Zoom. But this is really our way of introducing you to the core community and building your knowledge base that we mentioned earlier and welcoming you in. So when you're a first semester OCL, you'll be attending all hands, you'll be joining the community in that sense, but you'll also already have the opportunity to lead core through your own initiatives. That means that you can be working on something that's already existing, for instance, an AlmaWorks or a designathon, or you can go out there and start something completely new. It's really up to you and what you want to do. And then we like to think of this that beyond that first kind of semester or two, and once you really have become an integrated part of this community, you're also shepherding in and bringing people in as well. So that means mentoring newer OCLs, professional development. You finally get to take the turn of being the one on the other side who helps interview someone rather than being the one that's being interviewed, and really just growing that community. Like I said, Madeline is a new OCL who joined us last semester, and we're going on a walk next week because we're both in New York. So it's pretty fun to be able to meet people despite everything that's going on. But we want to give you a chance to hear from people who are actually a part of the core OCL community. So we are going to start off with Nassif.
Hi guys, I'll try to keep this short. So I'm Nassif. You can call me Naz with an S, not Z, because Naz in French means like stupid. So my transition to Colombia was rough. It was a round trip journey from Tunisia to California to New York with a lot of hardships. Last fall, I transferred from SMC to Colombia. As an international student, a lot of ordeals come with it. And I was part of a club called Phi Theta Kappa, an honor society club. I wonder if there's any captains in the house, but I ended my year with a solid circle of friends and a banquet. That actual event that I organized, and that event got me into core. You're welcome to check my website if you need any help planning an event. So I left SMC with a burning desire to transcend that passion and implement it at Columbia. So I started looking for clubs that will captivate my attention, and I stumbled upon core. And the particular picture caught my attention was the event hosted for the singer Shep Khaled. That was a sign for me to join, because it was like an all-encompassing club where anything can be achieved as long as you and relish in the process of incorporating it into entrepreneurship. And so my transition to New York was a bumpy ride, but it was bearable thanks to a few unique friends that helped me locate my campus on campus. But above all, get rid of that awkwardness when it comes to embarking on a new chapter, meeting new people, and finding a new comfort away from home. So some of those friends like Justin, with whom I had a pretty solid connection, who always finds a way to make you comfortable, welcomed, included, and especially heard and listened to. He was a very smart and proactive core member to work with in the fall 2019. One of my highlights within core was Founders and Fun Core General Body event. We were running all over the place, trying to book rooms, create design invites. We went over a lot of setbacks, but we were able to pull off a delightful first event that welcomed many curious entrepreneurs. And we got to bond with our General Body members while enjoying amazing Middle Eastern falafels over with Max was drooling, and the matching decoration, that was my special touch. So I also received a lot of help from other amazing co-leaders like Bella, Lord, Max, Kobe, Tyrese. I'm sorry if I forgot the others. And so we also had like an endearing way to connect like they have an engineering way to connect with you, and they never hesitate to answer your concerns. So they help you to fit in. It was a very compelling semester until we got hit by COVID. Unfortunately, I was home. I was kind of lost, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And so like I lost some family to COVID, and so that was a very hard time. That's why I withdrew myself from any social platforms. And so during such hard times, you all need to be consoled, comforted, and most importantly, understood. And core is our home for that warmth. So that is why for the spring, I want to make sure no one feels that way. I was thinking maybe we could have a sort of like social mandatory fun, like a virtual workout, virtual dance. Why not even like a choreography that we will learn bit by bit through the semester, and record like a video, and kind of release all that chunk of stress and forge a lasting connection so that we can elevate each other. I hope we'll be able to evolve together professionally, but most importantly bond with each other, because these connections are the real takeaways from this journey. So good luck to the new members, and looking forward to connecting with most of you on your exciting projects. Assedema.
Thank you so much, Nassif. Next up, we've got Manasi. You've already heard from her a bit today, but excited to introduce her experience as a core OCL.
All right, hey guys, so I am from Hillsborough, New Jersey. Shout out New Jersey gang. C's 2024 CS. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the supportive community at core. I think you've already heard about the great initiatives and programs that we have, but I really wanted to emphasize kind of the supportive and great community that we have here. So since I'm a freshman, this is like a lot of you, this is the first semester in college, and it was all virtual. So it's very daunting and intimidating. You don't really know how you're going to make friends. You're stressed out about school all the time. Overall, it's a very very intimidating experience. So when I applied to core, I wasn't really sure how it was going to go. I had talked to Max and Maya in the hangout sessions, which are coming up. Signups are already coming out soon, today until Friday, I believe. But I talked to them. They seemed like really great people, but I still wasn't sure I was going to make friends. So I was working on a few projects over the summer and throughout the fall. And everyone on the board was like, reach out if you guys have any questions, we're always here for you. So I was like, I'm going to take you all up on that offer. So I messaged Max and Ariana for advice about startups and feedback about my projects. I think I sat on a call with Max and one of my co-founders for a project for like 2 hours, and also Ariana for like 1.5 hours on Zoom. They were so supportive, provided really meaningful feedback about my projects. I didn't even know what VC was when before I joined core. I didn't know what it stood for, didn't know anything about it. But these guys really supported me and provided like so much guidance and feedback. And I was just not expecting that, especially as a freshman. It was great to know that even though it was super daunting in a virtual environment, I had these guys to support me. Also Maya, Sophia, Noga, Justin, I've worked on a bunch of projects with them, super great people. Like, I know I can always message them for anything. I message Max so much just for questions about projects, and he's always there to answer. I know I can lean on any of these guys to help me out with literally anything. And that wouldn't have happened without being a core OCL, because I'm able to work on these projects with them, kind of develop those meaningful relationships, even though it's all remote. But you don't have to worry about making friends in core because they're here for you. Your OCLs are here for you. They're great people. So overall, if you're a self-starter, you're into startups, building, solving problems, this is a perfect place for you. And if you're looking to meet awesome, like some of the best people you've ever met, you have to apply and be a core OCL. Yes.
Thank you, Manasi. Okay, and last but certainly not least is Time to tell us about his experience as an OCL.
Hello again. So I originally from Bangkok, Thailand, and like to be honest, Bangkok is not a very entrepreneurial city, especially comparing to New York, right? So for me, it is like much like what Nas and Manasi said, it's such a new experience and course a very supportive community where I can just like hop on and text like Max or Noga about like, hey, can you help me with this specific thing about entrepreneur? And as for me, I was also in founder school. So I was able to learn about so many different aspects of entrepreneurship, which is such amazing thing to know about. So on top of that, I think that I'll quickly go through like the fact that like the community is just allow you to do so much things. And it's not just that core is one of the most organized organization I've ever seen, and also but also because the fact that we can always start a new initiative or start a new aspect of that very initiative. Like for Founder School, we was like the part who created a new digital revamp. We have the Founder School Instagram for the first time. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Thank you so much, Time. Time is also a great photographer. If you ever see his photos, like, you'll know what I mean. Definitely check that out. Lord is gonna wrap up our sort of like community and events talk with a little fall rewind.
Yep, and I love this slide. Like, I just love, I think Time designed this like the 2020 wrap, but love this added touch. So yeah, for this virtual semester, we were able to have over 13 events, close to 1,000 people reached, 61 companies and 25 investors attended on OnWorks Demo Day. And I definitely believe that we can do more in this even shorter semester, as we're more acclimated to the virtual setting. And this is just some examples of some of the events that we're able to run, these all being speaker events from some exciting startups, leaders, one at Pfizer, our Good to Vote event with special guests. Can anyone?
Francia Risa, the actress, actually came through for that, which was really cool. Yeah, the head of content at YouTube, and then Francia, like famous actor showed up, and it was just like a talk about politics and entrepreneurship. Really cool.
Yep. And we also had like a little panel, not a little, actually very huge panel for Latinx Heritage Month, featuring many either starter founders or just leaders high in their professions. And there's a lot other events that we had. Yeah, absolutely. We can't fit all this stuff on one slide. But and I'm going to close this out in a sec, but we had the CEO of Y Combinator come just before the semester started. We had collaborations with a ton of different VCs. Also, Almaworks collaborated with an accelerator from Harvard, and they made like a joint program where they had tons of speakers come through. So just the quantity of like high quality folks that you meet is pretty cool. So anyway, we just inundated you with info. There's a lot of projects. This is being recorded, so we're going to make sure to post it. But what happens now? I think it's really important to mention staying in the loop. We post all the time on Insta. Definitely keep up with that. Keep up with Columbia Entrepreneurship on Twitter. We have a newsletter where we have all kinds of information related to core and also like hot takes on like industry stuff and tons of interesting offerings and events coming through. So keep up with all these things for sure. And another really important thing following this is like the most lectury thing we ever do. And we don't love just like getting to talk to like open space. So we'd love for y'all to come and sign up for these things we call core hangouts. Essentially, it's just like casual one-on-one convos. That's Rachel Lau in the photo there, another great OCL who's actually currently living with Justin and Kobe at a townhouse in LA. But she's going to be signing up for core hangouts to come talk to y'all, answer questions. It's just a no stakes conversation. Anything you want answered, anything related to core or not, or personal, what have you, come and hang out and get to know us better. I think it's a great opportunity. And finally, write this down, apply to be a core OCL here. Hopefully by now you've gotten a sense that everybody from core on this call is passionate to the bone about entrepreneurship and this org. And a lot of us came in with zero experience, zero exposure, and learned everything that that we know here. So we really hope to see everyone apply. And right now we're going to open it up for a Q&A. I'm going to stop sharing and we're happy to take any questions y'all have for the final 10 minutes of Town Hall. And feel free to turn your cameras on when you're asking questions, and hopefully one of us will have a good answer for you. If you could just like raise your hand or something so we know who's trying to ask a question. Or just jump in. I know somebody's got to have one question.
Hi, my name is Daniela. I was wondering how many initiatives can you be a part of? Is there like a limitation, or is it just like whatever you want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. There is no like technical limitation to how many initiatives you can do. I think the limitation is your time and how much energy you have, because hypothetically you could be on everything. And there are definitely people who have had these crazy sleep schedules and tried to just do as much as possible. But like typically you'll see people involved in like, 1 to 3 initiatives, depending on what they want to do. Maybe they want to survey a little bit, or they want to get deep into Almaworks, for example. It just depends on you.
Thank you.
Questions, y'all?
Hi, I'm Nicholas. Oh, sorry.
No, you're so fine. Keep talking.
You're muted.
Hi, I'm Nicholas. I was wondering if you guys were offering or were planning to offer any entrepreneurship classes this summer or next fall.
So
yeah,
summer.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just keep jumping in on accident. Summer is a really good question. I think we're still not entirely sure yet how the summer A, summer B semesters are going to work. That's still something that we are figuring out on our end and seeing how many people are going to be taking those classes. But in terms of this spring and next fall, yes, we will have Founder School. So that is always going to be happening, and we always have courses.
I also just want to add there that a lot of the content from our speaker events and Founder School, we will be uploading, so you will be able to get it through our YouTube channel, website. It will be accessible.
Great, thank you so much.
Another note for anyone who's looking online right now to set up time for the coffee chat. For For whatever reason, the calendar's not quite yet working. So it says that we don't have availability until February 16th. We will all be adding our times tonight so that you can go on there and book for this week. Sorry.
Yeah, sign up tomorrow. Sign up tomorrow.
Yeah, sorry that it's glitching, but definitely do go to the website and check it out in the meantime.
Any other questions? You can ask anything, like anything about this stuff. Chase.
So Max, since you're a senior, what's your best core memory?
Oh my God, that is really tough. There's like a good answer that I would tell to like a Columbia admin, and then there's like the real answer, which would be when we were in Shanghai together. We have 16 people in Shanghai. When a bunch of people who are suddenly legal drinking age adults in another country want to do something, you're going to want to check out what the bars are like and what the clubs are like. And we had like a core contingent of people go to like a club in Shanghai, and we met a dude at this really interesting place who was like, oh my God, I'm an entrepreneur. And we were like, oh my God, we're from Columbia Entrepreneurship. And so he was like, yo, we gotta like come dance at my little like booth and whatever. And me and my friend Dario, we got to dance on his booth and eat melon together, and that was great. And just talk about like tech things. On the other side of things, like you really can't go wrong as long as you're doing like, you know, hangout stuff with other people where you're like having fun and learning stuff. But yeah, that's like a moment that I will like never forget from from my time at Columbia for sure.
That's wild, man. Great.
Yeah, it's not usually that exciting though. Like, you know, you're gonna be, the more fun stuff is usually like just like getting to chill with people, you know, like having moments where like on a more extemo day, like 50 investors turn up and like things actually go well, and you're like, wow, we worked for like, you know, all week to get that going, and then it came together. There's a lot of that for sure.
It's crazy.
I have another question.
Go for it.
Regarding the global tech treks, how many trips were planned a year pre-COVID?
Yeah, so pre-COVID, there's always, it's always a spring semester, and there are always 2 trips that happen at the same time. So during the Shanghai season, it was Shanghai on the one front, and then London, Paris, actually London and Paris together on another front. Pre-COVID, we were planning on going to more places, one of which was Rio, and people were really upset when that got canceled, and I think Germany was the other one. So at any one time, there are 2 trips going out. We did like a Stockholm, Israel one. Yeah, there'll always be options.
How long are they usually?
It's a week. It's during spring break. You really take a crack at like the scene in a week, because you get there, you usually do a couple site visits every day, meeting with investors, meeting with entrepreneurs, going to companies. You get to explore, eat together, go do fun stuff together, what have you. So it's like a well-planned itinerary with everyone's input taken in.
Nice. Okay, thanks.
I have a question about global tech treks too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have to like apply to go, or like how does that all work?
Yeah, so typically we have global tech treks. We always consider this opportunity to get people from Columbia that don't have that much exposure to core or entrepreneurship involved. So in any given season, we usually have like half the people that go are core folks, like core OCLs, and then half the people that go are anyone who wants to go from undergraduate schools at Columbia. And there's like a separate quick like application interview for that. And the people that lead tech treks, like the OCLs who lead tech treks, will, you know, facilitate that whole thing. Yeah, but this hasn't happened also, you know, this semester or past semesters. So tech treks is a hopeful eventuality once things get back to normal for now.
We should also mention that we did have a like quasi tech trek last January, so about a year ago, before the start of the spring semester, and that was in Seattle, Washington. So there's lots of opportunities to travel in the non-pandemic world, and we're really optimistic that the people beyond us, potentially you, will be able to carry that forward once things do reach kind of a normal state again.
I'll also just emphasize, like, we've had OCLs come in who are interested in stuff like tech treks or Eve, things that it sounds like on the face of it, you can't really do. But they come in with these ideas like, hey, I want to do like a virtual version of Eve where we'll like visit certain companies and have bonding events and stuff like that. So these things are also open to rehashing if you have certain ideas coming in as an OCL that you'd want to bring to the community. Always open to new stuff. But anyway, any other questions, guys? More questions? Oh my God, Arjun is here. What's up, dude?
What's up,
I just
man?
got your sweatshirt in the mail.
Oh yeah?
By the way, yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, well, no one will know, but Arjun is a part of Core. He, during the pandemic isolation, was like, I'm going to start a company, and made a streetwear brand. The sweatshirts are really cool. You should plug it in the chat if you're like, if you're still like doing it. But I just got the sweatshirt. It's like so soft on the inside, and it has like a heart insignia on the front with like the COVID mask on. So it's like kind of cheeky, but also very cool. So you should plug it.
For sure. We have like new editions out, so check them out. Yeah.
Good to see you, dude.
Hey, man.
Sorry for that aside, y'all. Any other questions? Also, if you're not comfortable asking questions in a big group, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to ask, is the AlmaWorks accelerator like non-dilutive, or does it take equity?
Noga, you want to take that?
Yeah, no, AlmaWorks does not take equity, which is part of what makes it unique, and connects students with, or like whoever's participating with, a multitude of investors. AlmaWorks also doesn't provide companies with funding, so it's resource focused.
Okay, and then also, are there any other accelerators besides AlmaWorks, or is that it?
AlmaWorks is the only accelerator. There are 2 other accelerators that operate out of the business school, but honestly, most business school companies apply to AlmaWorks, and so it's like the sort of predominant accelerator on campus. And there are conversations about developing a social entrepreneurship like focused accelerator. So if that is interesting to you, there is always potential, but AlmaWorks is the main thing.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, AlmaWorks has grown so much in the past few years that it's literally listed under like VC research tools as like a New York City based accelerator, like alongside like ERA and like Techstars and stuff like that. And like people don't know that underneath it's literally like a bunch of undergrads running the accelerator. So anyway, definitely one of our older and more well-established things. Okay, maybe a final question or two, and then we'll wrap up. Maybe just like one question. Anyone?
You can also stick around. We might stay and linger on the link.
Yep. All right. I'm going to turn the recording off. For those of you that don't have questions, I hope you got something out of this. I would love to see you apply to be a core OCL. You know, we all are just waiting to get excited, passionate people that want to learn into this community. So thanks for coming. I'm going to turn the recording off now.